Okay, I think we're live. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Levitum Knot number 9. And Vishnu Ratheesh is back. We had the first knot with Vishnu where he spoke about photography tips for beginners. And today he'll be talking about post-processing tips. So it's a great continuation from what he covered off last time. So, hey, Vishnu.
Yeah, all right. Like Arvi said, last time we spoke about how to use a DSLR and take pictures. This time, I'm gonna talk about how to do some basic photo editing once those pictures are taken. So this, even though these are simple techniques which let you kind of enhance the pictures that you take, but it's very important that initially, while composing the picture itself, you take care of certain tips and tricks that we spoke about last time. So this obviously won't work on its own. It also needs a little bit of care even before you take the picture. Obviously, these are post-processing techniques. So just jumping into the basics of photo editing. So today we're going to talk about basic cropping and angle adjustment, which is also known as straightening. Then brightness and contrast, saturation, sharpness,
Hey,
white
Vishnu,
balance.
we're probably hearing you, man. Might need to be a little bit louder.
All right, and vignetting. So jumping in with cropping, uh, are you guys able to see my slide?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Yeah, see it now.
All right. So like I was saying, just going to cover up the basics of photo editing and touch upon the various attributes that we can edit within an image, and we'll take a look at each one of these now. So starting off with cropping, what it is the removal of the outer parts of an image. So you have an image and you have some unwanted elements that are crept in, either because you didn't have the time to compose it, or you have noticed it after the fact that you've taken a picture, because sometimes the viewfinders and the live view screens on your device itself are too small, and these details may not stick out then, but when you blow up these images on your screen, you see these. So we do this to kind of mainly to improve our framing, and to accentuate the subject matter. Sometimes the subject inside the image is kind of off center or not exactly where you would like to be. So you would want to kind of reframe the image in a particular way so that uh, the subject gets more emphasis. And the other one is to change aspect ratio. Sometimes changing the aspect ratio adds more depth to the image. So we'll take an example of an image that was just shot. So the photographer here was trying to click the uh, picture of a bunch of flowers in the garden. So what's happened is although the flowers have come, there's a lot of unwanted garbage or some kind of waste material that's crept in within the frame of the image. So the best way here is to kind of cut that section out completely. So the entire image now consists mainly of the flowers that the photographer wanted to. The Another example of this one is you click a picture and there's a lot of other subjects that have crept in. In this case, if you look at the image, you'll see there's some sort of brown and white elements that have crept in on the right side, and also the image of the flower itself is quite small compared to the rest of the leaves around. So the idea was to kind of crop it out and get more emphasis to the flower itself. Uh, Going moving on to the next one, it's straightening. So what we do in straightening is basically we align the vertical and horizontal visual elements within an image parallel to the edges. Not necessarily all the elements need to be aligned, but at least the main ones that you're trying to portray. It's mainly used to remove crooked appearances in a picture. A quick example would be there's a picture of the Statue of Liberty replica, and you see a bunch of buildings behind, and then you see the road, and vehicles are moving on the road. This picture is slightly crooked, mainly if you see the building is tilted and statue itself is tilted, and then the road is kind of slightly raised up on the left side and compared to the right side. The correction here would be to straighten the image in such a way that the road is parallel to the bottom of the image, because that's kind of running end to end. Here you would notice the statue also has become straight, because since we've leveled the floor, the statue automatically has come straight. But you would notice the buildings are still kind of tilted, but that's okay here because the main elements of the image that we wanted to portray, the statue and the foreground, the emphasis is more on the subjects on the foreground of the image rather than the background. So these are some techniques wherein we kind of remove the element, remove some part of the image to make the image look better. So both cropping and straightening always result in pixel loss. So what that means is while cropping, obviously you cut out the image, while straightening also, when we rotate the image, some part of the edges do cut out. So what happens is we take, especially in straightening, if we have an image and we want to straighten it, what we do mainly is kind of superimpose a rectangle or an aspect ratio of what image size we want on top of it, and then rotate the original image underneath it. So when we rotate it, the edges get cut off. That's how we get the straightening effect. So both are kind of cropping techniques, and the important thing to remember is when you do cropping, you always get a zoom effect, as in like the image appears larger, which is not the case. I can go back and show you again. If you look at this image, and once the cropping was done, it was an inverted L-shaped cropping. So if you look at the resultant image, you'll see it's kind of zoomed up a little bit. Same thing with this. Since the edges are gone, it kind of zooms out. As well as this one, you can see there's a slight zoom effect when you go between these two images. So what it means is, depending on the resolution of the picture that you've clicked, you'll be limited by how much you can crop or how much you can straighten. Obviously, these days now you have a lot of good cameras which capture in multi-megapixel resolutions, which shouldn't cause much trouble when you kind of crop out some edges, some percentage of edges, or do some kind of rotation. Okay. Moving on, the next set of controls is related to correcting the exposure of the picture that you've taken. So main controls are brightness, contrast, you have saturation, you can increase sharpness. So before we start to understand that, we need to understand what highlights and shadows are. So for every image that you take, they comprise of highlight areas and shadow areas. So highlight areas are comparatively lighter parts of an image. So when you take a picture, if you see your t-shirt or your skin tone or any metal sheen, those things comprise of the highlights. And then you have the shadow parts, so the hairline, the hair, and like the edges of a windowsill or some sharp components which are comparatively darker in the image. They are known as shadows. So all the other controls that I mentioned now, brightness, contrast, all of these are play with these the highlights and shadows. So if you look at brightness, So brightness it simply brightens the entire image. So both the shadows and the highlights are equally bright. So if you look at the image example that's up there on the top, you'll see there's a spoke with multiple, a wheel with multiple spokes, and there's a background. The background is dark maroon, and the left section of the image is the original photo, and the right side from half onwards is the brightened photograph. So you can see both the dark and the lighter parts are both kind of brightened up. So this is what brightness control does in any image editing software. So even the basic image editing software has these controls. If you look at a picture, this is the effect that you get. So you have a kid staring at the camera, but if you look at the exposure, it's slightly underexposed. But you can use just the brightness control to adjust to get to a level. Contrast again. So contrast is defined as the separation between the darkest and the brightest areas of the image. So
Hey, Vishnu, can't hear you. Hey, Vishnu, might be on mute. Can you guys hear him?
No, I think he might have lost it.
We lost someone. We lost Aditya. Hey, Vishnu, are you there? We've lost Raj as well. So what's going on?
Must be a power outage being done again.
Cross Indranagar and Cambridge layout. Contrast, brightness. Hey, so Android L has been pretty good for me so far. So issues with Slack, issues with the Kindle app. Other than that, it's been okay.
I think that I think it could be the ART runtime.
What's that? Oh, yeah. Might be, but I was running ART even earlier. Kindle is not fine.
I switched over to ART and a lot of the apps I used them stopped working.
Oh, really? No, I was running ART for a while. Yeah, I had no issues.
No, I think some of the built-in apps which came with the phone stopped working. So they get upgraded, I can't kind of go back to ART again.
Yeah.
How's your battery life been? Because I've heard mixed reactions. Some people say
it's not great.
It's better.
Yeah, not great. With Android L, right? With ART, it was great earlier. With ART, it was good. With Android L, definitely I'm hitting some. Can't say it's been great. So.
No, still a developer to use it. Let's hope it improves.
Yeah. Which is okay. I mean, I think it's. I'm sure symbols and other stuff like Sylvia. This is really mysterious. 5 minutes and all three of them are out. It's like Airtel or ACT is a huge outage, I think.
That's highly possible because I think all three of them are on ACP. But Vishnu has the Airtel backup as well. So.
Cool, you know what? I'll stop the broadcast because this is amazing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, 5 minutes into that. Alright, in case you're watching, there will be another session another time. Technical challenges.